Hi there, this is K4A, Knowledge for All Educational Videos channel. We are continuing with Scratch tutorials, and in this video we are going to learn how and when to use Scratch block, which is named Repeat. My headphones and microphone are not working at their best, so I apologize upfront if the audio quality is not very good. Okay, let's get going and start working in Scratch. We are continuing where we left off with last video. In last video I think we were programming our stars to turn around for certain amount of degrees. I will zoom in into our code for left star named star1, and same for star2, and then clicking on star1. Okay, so in this video we are going to explain this block Repeat, which is orange block. It is part of the control blocks group, and it is second from above, second from the top in control group. Drag and drop it in your coding window, and this block is very important, as much as all of these control blocks. They are very important, and probably most important considered with the events blocks. So events block and control blocks are very important. You're going to use them a lot. Lots of your games and your programs and your animations will depend on them, so we have to learn them good. We have to experiment with them a lot, and that's what we are going to do now. Before doing it, let's analyze a little bit what we have done before. In previous lesson we have coded the star to turn around, to rotate for certain amount of degrees, and that will happen when we press the R button. I'm pressing now to see what happens on the stage. This looks good, but if we stop for a second and think about it, what this code is doing right now and how it is working, this doesn't make much sense. Why? Well, stars on our stage, they are not our main character. Main character is cat. Stars are just some assets, some objects on the screen, like, I don't know, coin you have to collect, star you have to collect, apple you have to collect, or something like that, or something like some object you don't even interact with, but it's out there only for you to see it, or for your game to look better. So if you think about it and compare it to some other games, for example, if this star is like the coin in the Super Mario game, or some enemy in Super Mario game, like that mushroom Goomba, or however it's called, and you think for a few seconds how that coin works in Super Mario, or that enemy. That coin is turning around, also rotating, but you don't rotate on some key on your keyboard, right? It rotates all on its own. It's rotating, but you don't control that rotation as a player, right? So who controls that rotation? Game. You don't control it by your keyboard, by your mouse, by your controller, or so on. No, it's not in your control. The control of that coin or that enemy is only it's defined by game itself, some game manager, let's call it like that. I don't want to confuse you anymore, but just in short, you don't control coin in Super Mario. It will you can pick it up, but you cannot decide how it will turn around, when, how fast, how slow, and so on. Same with enemies. You cannot say, hey, enemy, go left, go right, or so on. The enemy goes whatever way he wants and when he wants. So if you want to make this star something like that, if you want to have a star like a coin in Super Mario, or if you want to have it as an enemy in Super Mario, but in our game, we don't want the star to be controlled by key, so we will detach it from this R key pressed. It was good enough for us to learn how it works and to test how it works, and that's done. That's great, good work, but for now we have to think about it, how to mimic the coin in Super Mario or some other game, and how to make the star turn around by itself, by the game itself, not our keyboard. Okay, so we must go back to events. We had when green flag clicked, when key pressed, we don't need that. We tried it, we don't need it anymore. And this one, when this flag clicked, also is pretty much does the same thing as this R key pressed for our game. We don't want that one either, because it will also depend on our clicking. We don't want the star to be dependent on our clicking or on our key pressing. We want it to be all on its own. We want the star to turn around all on its own, controlled by the game, not by the player. So it must be this one, when the green flag clicked, which is the starting block event block, and this one, when green flag click, starts the game. So we want it there, right? But we have tried that before, and what happens? It happens that when we start the green flag, when we click it, star will turn around, but just for 15 degrees and then stop. And again, that doesn't make much sense, because we want to start the game only once. You want to press this green flag only once to start your game, and then leave it alone. And that is not working for us like this now. One way to do it, as I have shown before, would be to copy this turn 15 degrees like in a couple of times and combine it probably with the weight, and that way we will have the effect of the star turning a little bit more. Yeah, it looks good. Star was turning around for 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 blue blocks which says turn. So star will turn 4 times for 15 degrees, and after every turn it will wait for 1 second, which is cool. That seems to work. But what's the problem now? The problem now is that this code is very, very long. It is huge, and it only works for 4 turns, and then the star stops. So if we want to do it again, we would have to copy all of this, snap it here, and so on and so on. So it would be nightmare. It would be disaster. There must be something smarter to do here, because as we said before, when you're repeating a lot of blocks, a lot of code, you have to stop and think about smarter way to do it. There must be smarter way to just make that code shorter and faster and more productive. This is the same problem we have here now, and we are going to solve it now. Okay, one more thing to show here. No, let's go just to the repeat block right now. This repeat block, which is also part of the control blocks group, will solve our problem which we have here now, and it will do exactly what I have just said. It will repeat some command as many times as we want, just as it says on this block. Repeat means do it again and again and again, as much as times as I have ordered you to do. In this default case it's 10, but we can change it to any number we want. Before that, let's duplicate this turn 15 degrees, and what happened here now when I duplicate it, you can see. I will delete it for a second and show it again just for you to understand better. I think I have mentioned that before, but if you have a lot of blocks attached together, linked together, snapped together, like here we have 2, 4, 6, 7 blocks, and for example I want to copy only this turn 15 degrees. If I click on it and click duplicate, I will not only duplicate the first one, but all below that block. So in this case, I will, when I hover the turn 15 degrees, click duplicate, I will duplicate the whole section of 7 blocks, which is something I don't want now. I will delete it. So if I maybe click on weight and duplicate it, what will happen? I will duplicate weight block and all the blocks below it, 6 below it. Okay, that's better, but not enough. But using this technique, I'm going to make a conclusion that I must be clicking the last one if I want to duplicate the last one. So that's what I wanted to show you just here. If you have a big chunk of code, a big section of code, you're going to duplicate. If you're clicking on the first one, you're going to duplicate all the blocks below it, and if you click on the last one, you're going to copy only the last block. So you have to be careful where you're clicking, and every time you click and select duplicate, all the blocks below that block will be copied also and duplicated. Okay, in this example specific, I have duplicated only turn 15 degrees, and before using it, I wanted also to show you that this new block repeat, this is the first time we have the block with some hollow empty space in it, so we're not sure how it works. We will show it now. But also on the top of that block we have some indentation, some hole, and on the end of that block we have some teeth, some I don't know how to call it, but some part which is pointing out. So what does that mean? It means that on this repeat block we can attach blocks above it, we can attach blocks below it, but the most useful thing, or once you want to use the repeat block for itself, you have to attach blocks in it. You have to put blocks in it. You can see, you see how this hole is growing bigger. It's like some monster trying to eat some little animal or little monster, and this is like a mouth and growing bigger. So when you want to use repeat block and when you want to repeat some command, you take that command, you take that block and put it into the repeat block. Then you attach repeat block to whatever you want. So what will happen now? When the green flag clicked, when the game starts, I'm saying to the Scratch to repeat 10 times something. What? This block here, this command here. I'm saying him repeat 10 times turn 15 degrees. So that will be same like having this block copied and duplicated 10 times. These two commands are the same. Only this repeat block will do it much better for us, for our game, in terms of it will make it look seamless, it will make it look very nice, and the star will look like rotating and turning very natural. It will look very nice. And if you use this big block of chunk, not only it will look ugly in our code window, and it will be hard to code in terms of control and move and so on, but also it will do it very fast, so you won't be able to see natural movement of the star, but you will only see star rotated in a blink of a second for 150 degrees. Instead of that, if you use this repeat, it will look much smoother. So let's click on our star 1. Let's click on direction to 0 to make it easier for us to see the change. And now look at the when I click on the green flag, look at how star is rotating nice, and also look when it stops, on how many degrees it stops. It should stop on 150 degrees. Why? Because we have turned our star 15 degrees 10 times. So it's 10 times 15, it's 150. Okay, so let's try the green flag. And wow, it looks great. It looks very smooth, but maybe a little bit faster than we want. For me, it's not bad. It looks good. But what problem I have here again? It's not a problem. It's not a bug. It's a feature. It's something that for example, 10 times for me and for my game, it's probably too little. I want to add more, but before that, let's just try this ugly chunk of code before deleting it to see what will happen if we test that one. So let's get on the let's select star 1. Let's also change direction again to 0 to see the change. And now when I click the green flag, look, you will see how fast it moves. You don't see the real movement, you just see the how star blinks in a second and rotates in some other shape, in some other position, but it's not like animation. It's not like very nice to see. Okay, so I'm trying it now. I'm going to click on the go, and you see it's almost like nothing happened. I'm gonna do it again. Yeah, it's like it looks more like star is moving than rotating, and that is because Scratch is jumping from this first block to this last block in a blink of seconds, and we don't need it like that in this game for this sample. So I'm going to delete this one. Okay, you got trash, and I'm going to attach the repeat block, which we have just learned and which looks great. And what I said about number of repeats, I'm going to, instead of 10, I'm going to put 100 and test it. Yeah, it looks great. It looks like some real game. Even 100 is not so much. If you counted seconds, it will be maybe 2 or 3 seconds. 4 maybe seconds so far. So okay, I think again that's not enough for my game. I'm going to put 1000 times instead of 100 and leave it like that. Yeah, it looks much better now. It will turn around, for example, I don't know, 10 seconds or 20 seconds or so, but it looks much better. Let's see when it will stop. Anyway, we have learned this block of code. It works as intended, it looks good, it works good, and I'm not going to need these blocks around it. I'm going to delete this one and the sprite click, and I'm also going to delete this. Okay, so star stopped. Yeah, cool. So what I was talking about, yeah, deleting this turn with wait blocks. We don't need those. I'm gonna zoom out. This is actually all the code we have for the star, and I think that's it for this block. So as I said on the start, this repeat block is very important, and also it's very often used. It will be used often with the forever block. We will use forever block more, but I'm going to explain it in next section. And whole bunch of these control blocks and these events blocks are very often used and they are most important, so experiment with those as much as you can, so you will be sure when and how to use them. And also don't be afraid to combine it with the blocks, whatever block you want. So for example, we had this guy on the screen, dancer rapper guy who was dancing when we pressed the D key, but as I have just explained for the star, this guy is not going to be the main character, he's not going to be the character we control as a player, so it doesn't make sense for us to use it and connect it to the key pressed. It makes much more sense to connect it to starting of the game, and same as we have done for the star, just put it into the repeat and also repeat it maybe 100 or 1000 times, as much as you want, and that's it. But if you have noticed, I have put the next costume in repeat now, and in the star I have put the turn 15 degrees. So in repeat block you can put turn degrees blocks, you can put next costume blocks, you can put any kind of blocks you want. Experiment with all of those, with looks blocks, with motion blocks, put them and repeat, see how it will change. You can also combine more than one block, combine different blocks. Oops, yeah, I have change something, so start jumped in. But as you have seen, don't be afraid to experiment. The whole idea of this repeat block is to repeat the action exact number of times, and that's what we have done here. Let's do it just for the star too, and that's it for this lesson. So that's it for this lesson. I'm going just to test it. Yeah. Oops, I made a mistake. You have probably seen that I have put 1000 degrees instead of 15 degrees 1000 times. And the only problem that I see now when starting this game is that this guy, this dancer guy, for me he's moving a little bit fast for my taste. Maybe it's maybe it's not, maybe it's looking funny and weird. But for example, if you had some test or some problem in your game when you wanted to make it to look slower, how would you do it? It's a good example on a real life problem and how to solve it. Well, I have explained it before. I hope I did. I hope it was clear, but if it's not, let's do it here again. So this guy is moving too fast. He's changing his costumes too fast, so I want to make it slower. We have learned before, when you want to make something slower, when you want to make a scratch wait for some time, then do something, that's when you use the wait block, control block first from the top, orange color, and as its name says, it's a block which says scratch to wait for some time. So the only thing we have to do now is just to put it inside the repeat. It will be repeated and it will solve our problem. And if you're still not sure how it's working, I will explain it on this one. It's same as doing this. Go to the next costume, wait 1 second, go to the next costume, wait 1 second, and so on, as many times as we have said. And we have said repeat 1000 times, so it will be like having 1000 of these next costumes and wait costumes, like 1000 of them in a row, which would be a nightmare to copy paste here. Instead of that, we use only one repeat block and said repeat 1000 times these two commands to the scratch. Wait seconds is maybe too long, let's try it. Yeah, let's try with 0.5 seconds. Yeah, this one looks much better, much more natural, so I will leave it like this. I will leave it this way. I will stop it and put this star maybe a little bit here. Okay, yeah, that looks good for me, at least for this tutorial and our advancement so far. Okay, that was it for this lesson. Probably it's already too long, but I hope you have learned a very valuable scratch block today, and I hope you will use it a lot. In the next video we are going to learn one which is even stronger and more powerful than this one, and until then keep on scratching, keep on learning. Bye for now.